In Pakistan, militants have attacked the stock exchange building in Karachi, the country's financial hub. Now, Pakistani police say that the 4 gunmen killed several people before being killed by special forces. The assailants used grenades and guns on their attack at the building, which is in a high security zone. It also houses the head offices of many private banks.
At the moment, we can confirm that 7 people have in fact lost their lives today. We do know that 4 of them were the assailants, and 2 security guards and 1 police personnel has lost their life. We can also confirm that 7 injured have been moved to various medical facilities across Karachi, where they are now being treated.
Donald Trump is tonight under fire after retweeting a video of a supporter yelling "white power." The president's post was eventually taken down, but it's added even more fuel to racial tensions across the country.
In a divided country, a retirement village also divided.
Trump.
Residents of the villages in Florida taking to their streets, protesting against each other. One Trump supporter responding to chants of racist yells back.
White power! Yeah, there you go, white power. You hear that?
The remarks made in the first 10 seconds of this video, then retweeted by the President of the United States to his 82 million followers.
The debate regarding whether or not to rename certain American military bases is becoming a focal point of contention in the 2020 election. The renaming of one of the most popular bases in North Carolina, Fort Bragg, has become the central question in a senatorial race this week. Some are predicting the issue may be the determining factor for the election in this battleground, military-friendly state. While Republican incumbent Senator Thom Tillis has said he is open to having a conversation about renaming the base, he has taken steps towards leaving the name as is. Earlier this month, Tillis voted against an amendment in the National Defense Authorization Act that would require the Pentagon to find new names for several military bases in the next 3 years. Additionally, Tillis's campaign manager said in a tweet the senator is opposed to changing Fort Bragg's name.
Now to the deadly shooting in Louisville, Kentucky. Police now investigating after one person was shot dead at a Black Lives Matter rally yesterday. Demonstrators had gathered to protest the death of Breonna Taylor. Taylor, the black woman who was shot and killed by police in her own home in Louisville back in March. With that, let's bring in Laura McQuillan. She's been looking at the details for us this morning. So at this hour, Laura, what do we know?
Well, very few details coming out from police, Michael. They haven't said whether they've made an arrest or who they might be looking for, nor have they named the victim. As you mentioned, one man shot dead. We know another person was wounded in the shooting, and the gunman firing from a sidewalk into a park where demonstrators were protesting.
आप खोलो कुछ भी नहीं है थोड़ा और पास आ जाओ हो गया अगर ठीक से खड़े होगे तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा बस हो गया कुछ भी नहीं पता चला रुको अभी और है एक और बचा
It was disappointing but expected news for millions of Muslims around the world this week. The government of Saudi Arabia has banned any foreign travel into the country for the annual Hajj pilgrimage. Normally, 2 million visitors will visit the holy site of Mecca. As Redmond Shannon reports, it's likely just a few hundred Saudis will be permitted to take part in this centuries-old tradition.
It is one of the greatest examples of mass worship on the planet. Hajj. Every Muslim who is healthy and can afford to go is expected to do so once in their life. Hajj has been held regularly since the Prophet Muhammad went to Mecca in the 7th century. It has been cancelled or heavily scaled back about 40 times over the years for war, politics and plagues.
In India, there's growing anger over the deaths of a father and son in police custody in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. Relatives say the men, who are Christians, were beaten and tortured after arrest, accused of violating a curfew imposed due to the coronavirus pandemic. Allegations of police brutality against minorities aren't new, but following the killing in America of George Floyd, some Indians say it's time to take a stand.
Heavy-handed tactics as officers enforce the country's coronavirus curfew. Police brutality is a fact of life in India. The poorest and most vulnerable, usually the target. Father and son, Jayaraj and Benix, died this week. They were arrested after officers claimed their mobile phone shop was open beyond the evening curfew.
A witness said 3 people were killed in a small town in Kenya's Rift Valley during a confrontation between police and residents over the wearing of face masks to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Angered by the cobbler's death, residents set fire to the house of the local police chief and attacked a police station with stones. In the chaos, 2 other people were shot dead. Human rights activists for weeks have protested alleged killings by Kenya police officers while enforcing virus-related restrictions. They also accuse officers of using the measures to extort bribes. Kenya has made it compulsory to wear face masks in public, and failure to comply brings a $200 fine, a heavy fee for many.
Gulnar Omezak says she'll never forget the day Chinese authorities told her her 3rd child was illegal. She says she was threatened, told to pay a fine of more than $2,500 or she'd be locked up in an internment camp.
They give shots and remove fetuses forcefully. If they say it's illegal, they make you get an abortion. Those who didn't obey were sent to the camps. Now people there are terrified of giving birth.
The Associated Press investigation is based on government statistics, documents and interviews with women like Gulnar, who say they knew people jailed for having too many children. Many received a prison sentence of years, even decades.
Government efforts to reduce birth rates in Xinjiang are both systematic and ruthless.
Chaps, if you can just pop down a second, please. Oh, good morning. How you doing? Beautiful building to be working on, isn't it? Oh yes. Very good. When are you actually opening for pupils?
In September. Well,
in September.
We've got pupils on a temporary site now.
Everybody coming back in September.
Everybody. That's what we're looking forward to.
Fantastic. Good. This is obviously a new One Nation government, and we want to be spending a huge amounts now on schools, on the 50 schools we're building or rebuilding with this initial £1 billion investment. But that's, of course, just part of a 10-year project now to get our schools upgraded and our further education colleges.
Ci siamo?